All right, welcome. I'm here with Dr. Kokayi and Judy Penta. My name is Megan Franza. I'm going to be your host, more or less, for this webinar. We're going to talk about how to lose weight safely and effectively on the HCG diet. Now, the HCG diet has gotten a lot of press recently, and we just wanted to kind of dispel any myths and tell people exactly how it works so that you can decide whether or not it is a good diet for you. But first of all, I want to talk to you a little bit about Patients Medical. That's the holistic medical center that we all are with here. We're a holistic medical center in Midtown East Manhattan. We're on 2nd Avenue between 42nd and 43rd Streets. We are a full-service medical center, so what does that mean? It means that we can help you kind of more or less soup to nuts with your medical needs. We have doctors who accept insurance. We have doctors who are out-of-network doctors. We have specialists. We have general practitioners. We have even things like bone density, sonogram. You can do your blood work here and many, many other services. So if you're wondering if we can help you with your medical needs, the answer is most likely yes. We would like for you to discover health and rediscover vitality. In fact, that is the tagline for Patients Medical. We focus on the root cause of symptoms. So instead of just handing you a pharmaceutical to cover up the actual symptom, we're more interested in finding what is causing the symptom and how you can actually heal that from the inside out. And that way you will have more health and wellness for years to come instead of having to deal with the same recurring symptom or a symptom that gets worse and worse because you've simply covered up the symptom instead of actually addressed the root cause. We integrate modern medicine, holistic practices. We use natural supplements. Also, our physicians incorporate diet, lifestyle, exercise, and many, many other treatment protocols to truly create integrative medicine experience here for our patients. Our goal is to promote healing and prevent disease. Now that's a novel idea, right? Actually prevent the disease so you don't have to spend time feeling miserable or ill. You don't have to take the time off of work to feel sick. You can actually take time off of work to do fun things that you like to do and not be miserable on your days off. Physicians collaborate to approach each patient holistically. So we have entire teams of physicians and wellness practitioners here. They can actually work together to create a wellness experience for you. They can be your wellness team, so to speak. The result? To gain health and nutritional wisdom that can be applied for years to come. So what our doctors are talking to you about in your visits and on our webinar today, it doesn't just hold true for this moment. It's actually great advice that you can use into the future and also use for your family as well. Our founder is Dr. Warren Levin. He began practicing his holistic protocols way back in 1974, and we're still using them today in various forms. Our medical director, Dr. Rashmi Gulati, after practicing more conventional medicine for about 10 years, decided that she wanted to incorporate more holistic protocols into her treatment plans. And so she met Dr. Warren Levin and studied with him for a while. She took over his practice as he moved out of the state and then just really grew it and started adding her own protocols. And now our doctors today have worked very hard to combine more conventional medicine with our alternative protocols, incorporating some of Dr. Levin's original protocols to give you the best care that we can offer you today with cutting-edge technology. We address a wide variety of conditions: chronic fatigue, obesity, overweight, osteoarthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, heart disease, Crohn's disease, and various other gastrointestinal disorders, Alzheimer's disease, Lyme disease, thyroid diseases, autoimmune, and many other secondary medical conditions, many of which our doctors have found can be alleviated or at least helped in some way by staying at a healthy weight for you. So that's kind of where the HCG diet comes in. This can be applied for people who are obese and overweight, more than just losing weight, to better your health as well. We have staff that include internal medicine, family practice, gynecology, osteopathy. We also have pediatricians, pain management specialists, oncologists, nutritionists, kinesiology, craniosacral therapy, myabdominal therapy and reflexology, oriental medicine and acupuncture, homeopathy, and many, many more things here at Patients Medical. And you can see our website, patientsmedical.com, for a complete list. So what we have here is truly the definition of integrative medicine, integrating conventional protocols with alternative and holistic protocols to give you the best wellness experience possible. Today's speaker is Dr. Kamau Kokayi. He is a medical doctor who practices family medicine, Chinese, and holistic medicine. He's the lead physician on our stem cell therapy team and our senior staff physician. He received his medical doctorate from Yale and completed residency with board certification in family medicine. He's certified in acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, applied kinesiology, and homeopathy. And he has over 25 years of experience in integrative medicine. His specialties are numerous, but they include weight loss, of course. That's why he's here with us today. Nutrition, detoxification, chelation therapy, intravenous therapy, acupuncture, homeopathy, structural manipulation, phytotherapy, energy medicine, and applied kinesiology. And I'm going to apologize if you can hear some emergency vehicles in the background. We are in New York City. We're in the very heart of it, and sometimes you can hear sirens. This is a short list of different things that Dr. Kokayi addresses in his practice. And I also want to introduce Judy Penta, our holistic nutritionist, who's with us here today. She's board certified, a holistic health counselor, and a personal trainer. She has a very customized approach to wellness. It incorporates disease prevention and reversal of symptoms. And I'll tell you about Judy. Well, both Judy and Dr. Kokayi, they really walk their talk. They eat healthy. They spend time with their families. They're big into exercise. And Dr. Kokayi is going to tell you a little bit about his personal experience with the HCG diet. But just going back to Judy a little bit, she graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, and she's a certified personal trainer. So the combination of Dr. Kokayi and Judy Penta can give you a very comprehensive perspective on nutrition and weight loss. So now, what we've been promising to tell you about is how to lose weight on the HCG diet safely and effectively. So I know that many people hear about the HCG diet and they're wondering why it's so popular. We hear about all these different stars and celebrities that have been on it or claim to be on it. You wonder what is with that HCG diet. Maybe you've heard in the press that it includes taking some hormones and using a very low-calorie diet. It sounds kind of extreme, so that's what we're here to talk about today, why the HCG diet may work and how it works, and whether or not it's actually safe and would be effective for you and your health condition. So I'm actually going to turn the floor over to Dr. Kokayi, and he's going to tell us what does HCG stand for, and where does it come from? Dr. Kokayi?
Greetings. Welcome. HCG is human chorionic gonadotropin. It's a hormone that appears naturally during pregnancy. It's the hormone that they're testing for with pregnancy tests because it's produced by the placenta and it increases throughout the pregnancy. So that's where it actually comes from. Now, HCG has a number of physiologic effects on the body. HCG has been shown to concentrate in an organ in the brain called the hypothalamus, which is really the master gland behind the master gland, the pituitary, and it has a lot to do with regulating fat in the body. If you think about pregnancy, women, when they're first pregnant, initially they may lose their appetites, but actually the fetus still grows. And in part, this is because of the release of fat that's stimulated by the HCG's effect on the hypothalamus. In 1954, actually Dr. Simeon had been studying obesity for about 40 years, and from a rare, he really was looking for something that could address the way that we put on fat as we get older. All that fat that just cakes up around the waist, the folds on the chest and the abdomen and the thighs.
All the places you don't want it,
right. But he realized that in treating a rare pituitary condition that causes young boys to be obese with diminished sexual development, he found that HCG helped to remodel the fat on the body, and it actually provided a missing piece for him in that he saw that the HCG actually was able to address that fat that no matter how much you diet, unless you're just plain starving, you just can't seem to lose the fat in certain areas of the body. And in 1971, Pounds and Inches, a new approach to obesity, was published. This diet, Dr. Simeon had a hospital in Rome where people came from all over the world to pursue this diet. There were many studies that appeared afterwards trying to discredit Dr. Simeon's work, but they didn't actually follow the strictness of the protocol that Dr. Simeon insisted upon. The other key to realize is that both with this diet and 500-calorie diets, the diets are safe. The question is the effectiveness, right? Is the question of the effectiveness of this diet with the HCG versus placebo. And we'll have more to say about that as we talk. In Dr. Simeon's time, and even now, HCG was administered by injections. We'll do that in patients that maybe we feel that we need to monitor them once a week, and we'll have them come back in to get their injection supply so we can check them. But most people will respond to sublingual liquid, which they take twice a day, and that seems to work just as effectively in most cases.
Oh, and just for people who are curious about what sublingual means, it actually means you just put it under the tongue. There's a little dropper, and you just drop it right under the tongue. It's very easy to use. Does it taste bad?
No, not at all. Not at all. So anyone who's trying to lose a substantial amount of weight, and you want to distinguish between overweight and obesity, right? And recently I looked at a map of the United States showing the percentage of people that were overweight, 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 25 pounds. And you'll see the map just gets slowly filled in as we move from the 80s to the 90s and into this millennium. A lot of this has to do with our switch to this high starch diet and labeling fat as the enemy. But a lot of people find that they're just stuck. We have tried all kinds of low-carb diets, Zone, South Beach, and we find that you can lose weight to a point, but then you can't go any further without losing structural fat, without actually losing some fat that fills out your cheeks and other parts of your body that's actually part of what you need. So people are still left with the problem of being overweight and having to go from one diet to another. So I put down these diagnoses because I've found in using this dietary approach with people is that a lot of these conditions improve, right? A lot of these conditions are in part aggravated by the presence of adipose tissue, which adipose tissue releases hormones, inflammatory hormones that contribute to disease processes in the body. So by actually eliminating, burning this fat up, any number of conditions can actually improve. And I've seen all of these conditions respond to this diet. And also consider that 95% of cancers, this is from the Columbia School of Public Health, they felt that 95% of cancers actually are environmental, meaning they're coming from the body, they're coming from foods that we eat. And many people are found to have these toxins in the fat. right? So it's important that, over time, you want to do some kind of detoxification that helps to remove the fat and these harmful chemicals and toxins. So who shouldn't do the diet? Well, obviously children, right? And I would say that older children can probably do this, especially children that are actually obese. People with histories of psychiatric illness, particularly, again, as it relates to food or eating disorders, people that have an active process that's going on. We don't want to aggravate that. I would also add that if you had an acute infection, we wouldn't want to start you, on this process. So common concerns or things that will come up, constipation. Again, it's important that there is room for fiber in the diet. I haven't really talked about one of the caloric, the actual intake of food on the diet, and Judy will have more to say about that. But constipation can be an issue, and we can do things to offset that. There are little exercises that you can do. We can still introduce fiber into your regimen. Of course, plenty of water is important. We need to know if you have a history of gallstones, right? We need to make sure that there's definitely enough fluid that you're getting, and we can monitor that as well. But all the other problems are things that can be addressed within the context of the diet and manipulating the foods that you are eating. Even the plateaus where people get stuck and aren't losing weight, there are ways to actually address that. And just in talking about the type of weight loss that occurs, you can look online, and there are many sites that are photo galleries showing you weight loss with the HCG, and it's really impressive because you see where the weight is lost. You don't have the skin sagging. I think that's if you've seen people after they've had surgery or they've had a liposuction, the skin looks ghastly, and we're talking about the body remodeling itself. So you'll see the arms will be remodeled, you'll see the buttocks, you'll see around the stomach, under the arms and the back. You'll see that'll actually change in a way that you'll be quite happy with that. So here's how we approach this. First of all, there's the preparation, meaning let's sit down and have a conversation and look at your weight. There are other factors that we examine that contribute to people putting on weight and maintaining it, particularly food sensitivities. A lot of times the immune reaction to foods and the inflammation that goes with that can cause fluid retention. More and more people are intolerant of gluten, as the gluten content has been increased in genetically engineered foods. So I will find a good percentage of people, if they're not reacting to gluten, they're reacting to gluten foods, wheat, barley, oats, rye, and malt. And that's something we have to look at, reactions to dairy. All of those things are key because when they're doing a 500-calorie diet, we don't want them eating foods that the immune system is reacting to. And it's very important to look at food reactions, not just IgE reactions, which is one class of immunoglobulins, but particularly to look at IgG food reactions. So once we get all of that out the way and we make sure that, one, you're not an emotional eater, because then there are techniques using kinesiology to help reprogram how you approach food, all right, because a lot of people are eating out of habit. People will come and they'll tell me they'll be on their first or second week and say, I'm not happy. I say, well, why aren't you happy? You're losing weight. But this is boring. And, one, it's boring and they just can't eat. But I would say, and this is my personal experience when I did this, is that feeling non-compulsed with respect to food, just looking at it as if you were looking at a bus going by. You don't feel compelled to jump on the bus. That was a nice experience, not feeling that way about food. And it helps to reshape your psyche with respect to how you look and just address your relationship with food. So, and all of that is happening, as we move into the HCG, and I think Julie's going to outline a little bit like the first few days and then going into the month or the 40 days. And then there's a maintenance phase, which is key because people say, well, what's going to prevent this from just coming right back? And this is where what we're really doing, this is why I see this as a real cure for obesity, because what we're talking about is resetting the body's fat storage point. You're resetting what the hypothalamus is saying that, well, this is your weight. A lot of times if you just do a caloric restriction, the body is fighting you, trying to get that weight back to the same point because it thinks, well, this is what the set point is for where the weight should be. Many of you have the experience of being a certain weight for so many years, then that moves up 5 or 10 pounds, then it moves up 5 or 10 pounds again. So we're talking about the body's perception of itself in terms of how much fat is supposed to be stored. The HCG uncouples that and allows that fat to move out. So during the maintenance phase, we're trying to lock in your new weight so that it actually stays there despite your indiscretions in eating. And of course, some of you will need to recycle in terms of, doing this a second, third, maybe even fourth time. Oh, this looks like something Judy should be talking about.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Kokayi. So he'll answer some questions later on that some people have emailed in, just kind of giving some more detail about some of the things that he covered before. But now, I'm sure many of you've been hearing about this 500-calorie diet and that it's boring and that you have to follow it in order to lose weight. So what is the diet and how is it executed? Judy's here to give us the scoop on this most important information that is really the key to your success on the HCG diet. Judy?
Thanks, Megan, and thanks, Dr. Kokayi. Okay, so I am going to give you just a little bit of an overview on the full cycle, and then we'll go into a little bit of the details. But what you'll see is that it's quite simple, and it doesn't really take that much time to explain it, and that's one of the beauties of the program. So on the first 2 days, you will start your HCG with a loading phase. So the first 2 days you take your HCG and you do a load, which basically gives you the freedom to eat whatever you want. And I'll go into the details of each one in a minute.
That sounds fantastic, Judy. Eat whatever you want. I want to know more about that part.
I'm going to keep you hanging just for another slide.
Okay.
So, yes, and it is quite the event. And then the diet is from day 3 to day 30, and that's the 500-calorie diet with the HCG drops. And the actual prescription, how much you take, when you take, that is all going to be between you and the physician, of course. Dr. Kokayi might adjust it here and there. Then the next part we like to call is the transition. So that's when, for the next 3 days, you're not going to take your HCG, but you still maintain the 500-calorie diet because as you don't want to just increase your calories because the HCG is still going to be in your system. So therefore, you stay on the 500-calorie diet, give your body 3 days to get the HCG out of your system. And then you'll do a maintenance phase. And again, we have 3 weeks here, could be 4 weeks, really could vary. And that's when you're going to take no HCG. And basically that is, I'll go into what that is, but in a nutshell, it's basically the same foods of the 500-calorie diet plus any other food that does not have sugar or starch. And don't worry, we have lists and checklists and details and charts, all kinds of training tools and helpful tools, so you really don't have to worry about, oh, is this a sugar or is this a starch? And then after maintenance, you either do another cycle if the doctor decides, that's something you decide with Dr. Kokayi, so maybe you lost 30 pounds and maybe you really need to lose 70, and so then you're going to go through another cycle or whatever. So that will depend. And then once you get to the goal weight, the weight you need to be, there'll be your stabilization phase where you just introduce more and more foods, a few little starches, and then there's certain foods that we don't really want you to eat at all. But it's basically a healthy diet that most people should follow.
And I would add something that
Please.
A lot of people will get so used to eating 500 calories a day that they don't have much appetite. They've made a successful transition, which in part you really want to eat well those first 2 days where it's unlimited, because that reserve fat that you get from eating that way will help you transition into the 500 calorie a day diet. The other piece is on the other end. I know the slide says 800 to 1200 calories. This is during the maintenance phase, but I'm going to say that it probably should be closer to 1200. Why? Because we don't want your body to register as starvation. Remember, you no longer have the HCG. If your body registers starvation, it's going to hold on to fat, right? So I find that a lot of people don't even eat the 800 or 1,000 calories because their appetite has been so suppressed and they're just enjoying that, right? So you have that extreme, and then there are always those that can't wait to run for the carbs, and they still have to be restrained.
It sounds like you can't do that anyways on this.
Well, you can, but you'd be surprised what people try to do or don't tell you that they're doing.
All right, great. Okay, now.
The load.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
The load is basically your free ticket to eat whatever you'd like. Now, obviously, we prefer that you eat healthy, fatty foods like avocado and nuts and olive oil. But if you happen to put a little fettuccine in there and a few slices of cheesecake and even a couple of donuts, there really is no limit. It's
wow.
kind of like, and it's the data shows that if you omit this and say, oh, well, I'm just going to start the diet right away, or I'm just going to eat salmon and just like a few little things, maybe one little dish of pasta, it doesn't work as well as when the people that really load. Is that right, Doc?
Yep.
Okay.
That's really amazing and very inspiring, right?
Yeah.
Helpful to know that you can start out your diet with that.
Yes, whatever your heart desires. So that is the loading phase. And then the actual diet, the 500 calorie diet, is quite simple. And basically breakfast is everything everyone told you not to do, but you don't really eat anything for breakfast. It's just tea or coffee. And you're allowed, I believe, 1 tablespoon of milk per day if you choose low-fat milk in that coffee. Other than that, that's it for the milk. Lunch and dinner are basically the same, and it's about 100 grams, which is about 3.5 ounces when you weigh it raw. So by the time you cook it, it's even going to be lighter, of an approved protein, and there's a specific list. And interestingly enough, on the list is chicken, but not turkey. So it's chicken. If it says chicken, it's chicken. It's not turkey. Not the same amount of calories as chicken. It's chicken, not turkey.
Not a lot of wiggle room here.
No wiggle room. And it's specific with the fishes could be, and we would provide those lists when you do the program. 1 approved vegetable, which means you cannot mix the vegetables. So one of the approved vegetables might be lettuce, another might be tomatoes, another might be cucumber, but you can't have the 3 in a salad. It's either lettuce, tomato, or cucumber. And usually the portion is about a cup, I'd say, half to a cup.
Yeah.
And then you're allowed 1 breadstick, those Gristini long, skinny breadsticks, or a Melba toast, 1, and then 1 of the approved fruits. And it can only be on the select list of fruits. There's strawberries in there. There is grapefruit, banana. Nope, no banana. Excuse me, too sorry. Whoa. That's
No banana.
No banana, capital N-O, banana. I believe orange and apple. And so there's not a whole lot of fruit choices, but they're all pretty strawberries.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the dinner is the same as the lunch.
Think about how much money that's going to save you
And
in
time.
groceries and dining out.
Yeah. So I kind of addressed this a little bit, but you cannot substitute. So if you're back to the chicken and turkey, if they have comparable calories, you still cannot substitute them. You cannot substitute even the vegetable. So if on the list of approved thing is asparagus, but there is not, say, mushrooms, which there is not, you cannot, and mushrooms are very low in calories, you cannot substitute the same calories of mushrooms. I believe there might be something in the composition of the food. He doesn't really explain it when you read the manuscript. It's just that he's found that this works and something else doesn't.
And this is where you really have to respect all the work that he did, the hundreds of patients that they worked this out with. Because, you know, if you're just looking at food in terms of calories, that's one thing. But I've seen any number of cases where there's one particular food that actually causes a person's weight to go up, right? So whatever they've worked out, you really have to respect this and not try to introduce your own program in doing this.
And I think it gets people a little confused because it so clearly states the 500-calorie diet that people think they can start changing the calories, but it's not the case.
Right.
Just surrender to the science.
Just surrender, right?
Yeah, you know, it's on the page, that's what you eat. Think of it as something simple. And then the beverages, you can have tea, coffee, and lots of water. So there aren't that many choices, but they're good choices as far as, there is no limit on the coffee, but we also know we don't want to go crazy with the coffee. But lots and lots and lots of water. How about carbonated water? Is that okay?
No, it's just the effect of the carbonation.
Okay, so not even carbonated.
I think the water needs to be half your body weight now.
At least, right? Yes, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, the gluten-free diet for all the
most of our
it is gluten-free.
Plus, part of our testing is to see if you need to be on a gluten-free diet.
But the diet is gluten-free. I mean, there's really no
apart from the breadstick and then all the.
Well, and I actually would substitute like half a rice cake.
Right.
Plain rice cake.
And I think that's my bad thing, that if I were going to be doing this, I wouldn't. If I had to eat one meal of toast, I probably wouldn't bother. But you Dr. Kokayi saying you can do the rice cake. But so yes, it works for gluten-free. We'll adjust it as well as any other adjustments you might have. So if you're a vegetarian, it will work, but the data does show that it doesn't work as well. Now, and maybe in those days they didn't have as many vegetarian-type products, but again, most of them are processed foods, so I don't know if this is why, but if people are on a vegetarian diet, they tend to lose less weight. I don't know what other experience you've had with those patients, but you're a vegetarian, Dr.
I mean, the most, just in terms of the substitute, like a bucket of tofu is like 90 calories. So sometimes I actually use that at times, right?
As opposed to like the Boca burgers.
You can also get a protein isolate with greens as a shake, and that's not going to be more than like 130 calories for the shake. So, you know, unless you're ready just to give it up and eat veal and lamb, and you know, but you can make the adjustments.
And it does still work.
Yeah.
This is where it really comes in handy working with a doctor and a nutritionist together, because you can sort out what will work on the diet if you must make substitutions. What would be reasonable substitutions? These are the experts here.
They will help you come up with something. And again, the food allergies, most definitely. So whether you're allergic to certain types of fish, you can't have too many of these things on here anyway. There's really no dairy on there anyway. So most of your food allergies will be addressed anyway. It is pretty, but because it's so specific and simplified and so whole foods based, it's probably not going to be as much of an adjustment for you if you have a food allergy as if you went on a different type of diet. But yes, we will work with whatever food allergies you have.
Good news, good news.
And exercise. I think if you're exercising now, again, this is very subjective, like most things are, but if you're exercising now, you probably can do some light exercise and continue either walking. You know, if you're running 10 miles a day, you probably won't be doing that. I wouldn't recommend that, but you could probably do maybe even a faster walk or even maybe a short jog. I guess what you have to do is work with a doctor, work with a nutritionist, and if you try something once and it doesn't feel right, then you don't do that, you do something else. Weights, I don't think are as easily adaptable. Maybe something very light, maybe bands instead of actual weights. But, shorter sessions, lighter weights, those types of adjustments. And again, depending on where your fitness level is at the time you do the diet, it's just like when you're pregnant. If you're exercising already, it's easier to incorporate exercise than if you haven't been exercising and just want to start exercising when you get pregnant. So again, this is where Dr. Kokayi and also I would help you adjust to your particular situation and customize.
This is a big question. This is another big topic on the internet. If you've researched this diet, that you can't wear makeup, you can't wear any sort of lotion or anything like that. So are you supposed to go around with no makeup on, hair not done? What's the answer to this?
Well, luckily, it's not 1954 anymore, and it's 2012. So we have a relationship with one of the pharmacies that can customize certain products for you, or as well as we have a whole list of safe products for any type of need, be it makeup, be it moisturizer, be it even a medical product. So we do have all types of items that will help you, and we also have lists of items. We also have a book that goes into all the specialty items, specialty diets, lists of foods and diets, and checklists for you to use, and aids. So we will address this with you individually, and also we have lots of tools to help you.
But you can't use them because they actually will make you not lose weight, right?
They have edible fat in them, which a lot do.
Wow. So if that actually affects your weight loss on HCG, imagine what it's doing to you in your daily life.
That's true. You're just not going to mobilize that fat. It's going to be harder to do that.
Wow.
Okay, October. Apple Day and Steak Day. This sounds like fun. Tell me about this.
The Apple Day is if you get stuck during the 500-calorie portion of the program, where all you eat that day is apples. And
Stuck. Explain what stuck means.
Oh, stuck means that you haven't lost weight. That a couple of days, 3 days have gone by where you haven't lost an ounce. Or maybe you've gained a pound. Because, when you weigh yourself every day, there are some fluctuations. So the Apple Day usually breaks that cycle, and I actually know someone that did that, and they couldn't eat the last apple. They said they were so stuffed, they were like, I cannot eat this last apple.
Wait, how many apples?
You ate 5 or 6? Six. They ate 5, they couldn't eat the 6.
Give yourself a break, too. Weigh yourself in the morning. That's when your weight is going to be at its lowest.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Probably for everyone, right? HCG diet or not. All right.
Once you sleep well.
Yeah. Steak Day.
Steak Day is the trick for, and I trick, but that's the weight loss jogger for those that are on maintenance. And they've gone more than 2.1 pounds above their last injection weight. So the last time you've taken, or HCG day weight. So the last time you've weighed yourself when you had HCG, whatever that weight is, you never want to be 2.1 pounds more than that.
And remember, this maintenance phase is the part where we're trying to lock in your new weight so that the body's intelligence accepts that this is your normal weight and tries to keep you there. So that's why this is important to maintain that weight.
Maintain your weight with steak. Sounds great. All right. It should be a bumper sticker or something.
Yeah.
Probably not for the vegetarian. All right. So now I just have a couple of questions that were emailed in for people who kind of wanted a little bit more information on what Dr. Kokayi and Judy went over. I had somebody ask, do I take my diabetes medication while I'm on the HCG diet, or should I?
Well, what's going to happen is you're going to have to drastically reduce your medication. And these are people we probably want to see like once a week. It can be done. I remember my glycohemoglobin, which is a test for that looks at your average blood sugar over a 3-month period. So mine dropped a full 0.6 of a point, which is actually a big deal because most people go from 5 to 5.6, and then from 5.7 to 6.4, you're considered at risk for diabetes. So if you're dropping 0.4 or 0.5, you can easily go from an at-risk category into a normal range. So that's really key.
Great. And what about other medications? Just kind of going with this medication theme.
Yeah. Well, again, a lot of people's blood pressure is going to be in part aggravated by weight. Diabetes aggravated by weight. So all of these things will have to be adjusted. And people have been very happy, very pleased with that. I've had patients with multiple chemical sensitivity, autoimmune disease, degenerative joint disease. Again, they lose the weight, they feel better.
Great. Well, that's a definite side effect of this diet.
Right.
That's very, very healthy.
Right.
And so for the medication, just working with the doctor will ensure that you
Yes.
are able to stay safe
Right.
while you're on the diet. Okay, here's another one. How much weight could I potentially lose on this diet? Someone's asking. So is there like a cap to the amount of weight, or how does that work?
I mean, people have lost up to 1 pound a day. So if I know somebody's really regimented and they need to lose weight, I'll put them on a 40-day regimen. So conceivably, you can lose up to 30, 40 pounds, right? Some people that kind of do it their own way, they might lose 10 to 15 pounds, right? But most people that are doing this and need to lose weight are losing at least 20 pounds.
But you can lose a lot more than that, though, right?
You lose more than that. One, if you're starting at a higher place,
Mm-hmm.
and if you just follow this,
Mm-hmm.
you can lose. I'd say people like up to 1 pound a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally what I see.
And then you can do another cycle, right?
Oh, yeah, you can do another cycle after you replenish yourself with healthy fats and everything during the maintenance phase. You can certainly do it again.
So just to be clear, you would do the HCG diet, then you would do the maintenance phase for a few weeks or
Right.
a month, and then you would go back and do the
Then you
HCG
can go
diet.
back in.
And you could bounce back and forth for
Right, and
pretty much as
people-
long as you need to.
Yeah, and people might plan to do, to go back into it 2 or 3 months later.
Mm-hmm.
They're enjoying themselves. And we go
Around a
back.
vacation,
They
they
have
have
a
a
holiday
holiday.
maintenance, though, no?
Well, you stay on the maintenance initially because you're trying to lock in your weight. After 3 weeks, what that means when I say lock it in, meaning the body doesn't just put on weight, calories in versus calories out. The body can actually modulate itself so that, you have a few days where there's some extra caloric intake. The body will do what it has to do to keep you at a certain weight. Is when we just blow past that, eating the regular American diet where we're just starched up, then no matter what you do, you're going to gain weight. Right.
Don't get starched up. That's the bottom line.
And you know what? Just to add to that, in the Western world, probably up until the 50s, when people wanted to lose weight, they say go on a banting. And banting goes back to an undertaker. I think his name was William Banting. This is in the early 1900s, late 1800s. He was a funeral director, and he was morbidly overweight. And he decided he was going to lose weight. And the way that he lost weight, and this was common knowledge all up until the 50s, is that you stop the potatoes, you stop the bread, you stop the rice, and you lost weight. But because he did it so well and effectively, they call it a banting, which even appears in the English language. And it was basically a low carb, a low starch diet. And in his case, despite copious amounts of alcohol, he actually lost weight. And if you think about all the diet books that have come out one after another, all of them are really looking at the starch content in our diets. And if you adjust that, you have a real chance of losing weight. The HCG takes it one step further, which is why it's not just for overweight, but for obese people, where that's really a disease itself. And it helps to normalize the fat, what the body sees as its fat content.
Excellent. So this is not a newfangled thing. This is not
No.
technology that's just come out yesterday or last year. This is something that people have been doing for years. It just happens to have become popularized
Right.
recently.
Right.
That's great. Well, and so Dr. Kokayi, you alluded to your experience with the HCG diet and how your feelings were around food during the HCG diet. Do you want to say anything else about your experience with it?
Well, I did it for a little under 4 weeks, and I lost about 18 pounds. And I was impressed by the fact that I wasn't hungry. I mean, I had some hunger, but I wasn't uncomfortable, right? In fact, the only problem I had was just feeling a little tired at times, and if I had some coffee or tea, I felt totally back on my game. But what I really enjoyed was the disconnect from food. I got into like where food just didn't matter. You think of how much of your life, your day gets planned around a meal, preparing for a meal, food seeking, what are you going to eat, who are you going to eat with, all of that. It was just, so that was an actual pleasure. I'm looking forward to doing another round soon.
Great. Yeah, frees up a lot of time so you can do
Right.
other things you want to get done in your life, right? Great. Well, so now I want to go on and just talk a little bit about if you decide that HCG is for you and you would like to do that, start with it, what you could do if you want to work with Patients Medical, if you want to work with Dr. Kokayi and Judy here, or any of our other doctors here at Patients Medical who would do that with you. We have something called the HCG kit, which is the HCG sublingual drops, which, as Dr. Kokayi said, we believe is the best option for 1 month. It has the HCG Diet book, chromium lollipops, which is something we didn't really address, but would be addressed a little bit more in your talks with Judy and Dr. Kokayi. But they're just to kind of give you a little extra edge that you would need if you have a craving, especially in the first couple of days. And then HCG approved skin cream. So as Judy was talking about a little bit earlier, you don't have to feel parched while you're on the HCG diet. There are things that you can use, and then also the pharmacy mixes an HCG approved skin cream that you can use. So that's in the HCG kit if you like. How much does it cost? We have something called the Success Package, and that's for new patients. So you can have an initial consultation with the doctor, one follow-up with the doctor so that he can explain the results of the test to you and get you started on the HCG program, a couple of visits with Judy, the nutritionist, and then the HCG kit. And that's $1,110. We also have a fast track package, and that's only for existing patients. So if you've already developed a relationship here at Patients Medical with one of our physicians, you just have a follow-up visit with your doctor that you're already established with, and then the HCG kit, and that is $575. And if you just want to know more about the HCG diet, and you're just curious, we actually have the HCG Weight Loss Cure Guide by Linda Prinster. It also has the wisdom of Dr. Simeon. And what is the other doctor that wrote the other book?
Oh, Trudeau.
And Trudeau in it. But he has, anyways, this is a book that covers many different aspects of the HCG diet. It has all the lists in it that Judy was referring to about what is okay and what is not okay to eat on the diet, as well as many other things and nuances that are very important. That's only $25, and you can buy that here at Patients Medical as well. So you can kind of just start to dip your toe in the water and figure out if this is right for you or not. And of course, before you even commit to this, just talk with your doctor. See if this is right for you. Explain what your health goals are, what your weight loss goals are, and have a conversation. So we want you to get on track with your health with the HCG diet, or if the HCG diet is not for you, you can still get on track with your health with Patients Medical. So we offered a discount originally. If you want to mention that you saw this webinar, we'll give you a discount over the phone so you can get started today with your appointment, especially if you're a new patient. Just make an appointment with one of our physicians. Call 212-661-4441, or you can email media@patientsmedical.com, and that'll come right to yours truly. can address it to Megan if you like. Excuse me. Here is our whole team of holistic doctors. We have on the top left side our medical director, Dr. Rashmi Gulati. To the right of her, you see Dr. Kokayi, who is here on the call today with us. We also have a holistic gynecologist, Dr. Deanne Howard. We have Dr. Thomas Goforth, just to the right of Dr. Howard. He's in the top right-hand corner. Right below Dr. Goforth, we have Dr. DiFrancesco, Eileen DiFrancesco, and she's a psychopharmacologist. To the left of Dr. DiFrancesco in the tan suit there, that's Dr. Vivian Denise. She's a holistic pediatrician, and she also serves adults as well. And to the left of Dr. Denise is Dr. Stuart Wegg, and he is our doctor who specializes in pain management and other chronic conditions. And then the bottom left is Dr. Gino Bettino, and he specializes in oncology, and then he does immunology and works with diseases of the blood as well. So that is our holistic doctor team. We also have many other practitioners. Judy's picture was at the beginning, although it's not on here. But that's the team. You can also check out our website, and if you see click on our physicians, you can read all about the different physicians that we have, as well as watch this webinar and other different video clips on our website. So I just want to thank Dr. Kokayi and Dr. Judy, nutritionist Judy Penta. We'll just call her Dr. Judy, right? Dr. Kokayi and Judy Penta, our nutritionists, for being with us here today and sharing their expertise with us. Again, for an appointment, you can call 212-679-9667 or email media@patientsmedical.com, and we will do the best we can to get you on track with your health. Any parting words here, Dr. Kokayi or Judy? No?
No, I look forward to seeing people that are serious about addressing their health.
And one thing I want to add is it's just so important what you eat every day. It really affects every aspect of your life. So please, please take that into consideration when you think forward.
Absolutely. We are what we eat.
Yeah.
Right. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening or your day, whatever time it is, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.